the way too early 2024 Sunbelt preview. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day, making our way back from South Florida to South Louisiana, make it back to Lafayette later today. We did not get nearly as far as I hoped for. Got as far as Tallahassee. Should have gotten as far as Mobile, but did not. All right, so we'll go over each division for the too early Sunbelt West preview and the too early Sunbelt East preview. Also, Sunbelt Hoops are opening up this weekend, so we'll look at that. We have one undefeated team and we have one winless team in the same conference. I do want to point this out real quick. We'll see what it means. My guy Nick Fontenot pointed out to me as I was traveling all day, although I did look a couple of times. Zion Chris tells 24/7 Sports that he plans to visit UCF and South Carolina soon. He's also heard from double-digit FBS schools since entering the portal. Well, you'd hope he'd be hearing from FBS schools. It's the point of hearing from Power 5 schools or FBS schools that are willing to pay him. If I'm the Cajuns, I still try to put together Crew Airlines, I still try to put together a package. Just saying. We'll see where he ends up. When it says double-digit FBS schools, that could be Georgia State for all I know, right? No offense to Georgia State, but unless I heard double-digit Power 5 schools, I'm still putting together a package. I still think he'd potentially come back. We'll see. All right, but that is the first news that we've heard since he's entered the portal. About 10 days into, about 9 days into it, after he did announce. So we shall see where that goes. All right, let's do this too early Sunbelt West preview, and we'll just kind of go down the standings. And, obviously when we say it's too early, it is way too early, right? Some of these coaches are brand new. We certainly don't know who the quarterbacks are going to be. Yesterday's episode was about a mass exodus in Troy, so these are things we do not know about. So in the West, let's start off with the defending Sunbelt champions. In fact, the defending two-time Sunbelt champions, Troy Trojans. I mean, obviously there's upheaval. There's, they could end up losing, 20 players in the portal. They have a new coaching staff. They're losing coaches from the previous coaching staff that are joining John Summerall in Tulane. So we have no idea what's going to go on with Troy. It's starting. I don't want to say it's starting from the ground up. And they did sign a All-American JUCO transfer on Thursday. But obviously, Troy's going to have their work cut out for them to get back to where they were the last couple of years. They may be better, but they're obviously going to lose a ton of experience heading into 2024. So we don't know what Troy's going to be. You can't answer that. We have no idea what Troy's going to be. Texas State, coming off their 8-win season and a bowl victory for the first time in school history. We're waiting to find out what TJ Finley's going to do. Did have a commenter, Frank, in there, I think, mentioned he's got a family. He's got a wife and a kid, and so he needs to support them. Is there a football program that will help support them, right? Again, I'm not sure he is worth the $1 million that others may be, but, I mean, can Texas State put together a high five, low six-figure deal for him? Somebody in San Marcos? Or maybe he can go find somewhere where he can get $100,000 to $250,000. I'm not sure he's a pro quarterback, but, if he can go get 75 to 100K playing college football and continue with school and get a couple more degrees if you want, that may be worth it. So we're going to have to find out about Texas State, and a lot of that is going to be determined on TJ Finley. If he leaves, is Malik Hornsby ready? He played a little bit this year, but I'm not sure if he was considered ready or not. All right. Then you got South Alabama. They finished 7-6, and there was a tie for third. Texas State, South Alabama, Arkansas State. All tied for second, rather. But, Texas State beat South Alabama. South Alabama beat Arkansas State. South Alabama, coaching upheaval. Big, the offensive line coach, wide receivers coach, linebackers coach, running backs coach, all gone. not to mention Carter Bradley, the quarterback, the running back, LaDainian Webb, and the wide receiver, Colin Lacey, all in the portal. So we don't have any idea about South Alabama either, although we have seen a little bit more of Gio Lopez than we did see of Malik Hornsby this year. Gio played pretty well in the bowl game, maybe in the bowl game MVP, in fact. And I know of others who liked him as well. It was a tough spot when he went on the road to Troy in his first start in his college career. That's not exactly fair to him. But we'll see. And they do have running backs. I think Bradley McReynolds and Kendrick Bullock can come back. So we shall see. They did lose Dante Lucas, their a starting guard. And so they have some holes to fill as well. But they have their quarterback, right? That is one thing that, does Troy have their quarterback? Does Texas State have their quarterback? I guess it would be Malik Hornsby, I would think. But South Alabama has their quarterback. So does Arkansas State. Arkansas State has their quarterback, Jalen Rayner. And if Butch Jones can fill in the holes from the transfer portal and graduation, they have a solid starting point that maybe they haven't had in recent years. And if they can build on this year into next year, I would think Arkansas State and Texas State, should TJ Finley come back, will be among the preseason picks to win the West. The other team that could be is the Louisiana Raging Cajuns. If those running backs come back, the receivers come back, Ben Woldridge is expected back. All right, maybe even Chandler Fields. That's 50-50 at best. But you do have Ben Woldridge as your starting quarterback. The problem with Woldridge is he hasn't been able to stay healthy his entire career, and certainly not with the Cajuns. I predict Zeon Christ will not be back, but I'm holding out hope. But if Ben Woldridge is back, then you have a very experienced quarterback, although one that cannot stay healthy. So those would be your top three. Texas State, Arkansas. I'm sorry. You got Texas State, South Alabama, and Arkansas State know their quarterbacks. South Alabama's got a lot more work to do. But I would have the Cajuns, Arkansas State, and Texas State as the take your pick. Who's going to be the top spot in the West? Then you got Southern Miss. Still need to work out the quarterback deal. They had a heck of a recruiting, a heck of a class. But how many of those guys are going to help this year? The transfers will help this year. Still need the quarterback if you're the Fighting Will Halls. And obviously a complete overhaul. I think I saw 38 players for ULM coming in. Like 1/3 of the roster has been turned over in Monroe for Bryant Vincent. And that'll be a lot of fun. All right. Because we just don't know what the case is there. Maybe they still have some more opportunities when they can have the next signing day. So those are the teams that, that the way too early West preview. We don't know what we're going to get with Troy. We're still waiting on TJ Finley. South Alabama has their quarterback, and they have new coaches they got to deal with. Arkansas State has their quarterback. We think the Cajuns have their quarterback. Southern Miss needs their quarterback. And Monroe is in complete upheaval. So I have no idea. I would put right now Arkansas State, the Cajuns, and Texas State at the top, and then fill everybody else in underneath that. And again, that all depends on the quarterbacks moving forward. All right, let's take a timeout. When we come back, it's just as crazy in the Sun Belt East. We do the way too early Sun Belt East preview when we come back, and it's time to tell you about eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. The way too early Sunbelt East preview. And we start off with the two-time Eastern Division champs, the JMU Dukes, and obviously huge turnover there. That could be another situation where maybe the quarterback comes back. Just maybe. Jordan McLeod had an outstanding season. He was the Sun Belt Player of the Year. And decided to go into the portal, decided he was going to play the bowl game, and we'll see what happens then. I presume he'd have opportunities to move on. All right. But obviously, you got Bob Chesney coming in, the coach from Holy Cross, who was, I thought, a candidate at Syracuse before they got Fran Brown. And he replaces Curt Cignetti. Curt Cignetti, I think he took some coaches from JMU and he took a handful of players after the bowl game. As Curt Cignetti continues to solidify those relationships in Harrisonburg. So again, James Madison, we just don't know how good they're going to be. We have no idea. It's a whole new regime, whole new players. It's tough to keep that level of play, even if Cignetti and Summerall came back to their respective schools. It would still be tough to do that in this day and age. However, though, if Cignetti comes back, you would think, not guaranteed, that the quarterback would have come back. But we'll see where Jordan ends up. And again, that is just like Troy. We have no idea about JMU moving forward. One team we do have an idea of, although they need to replace the running back, Nate Noel has in the transfer portal, is App State. All right. I'm going to guess, they and Coastal are going to be the top picks in the East. App State's Joey Aguilar, I believe, is returning. Someone in the comments thought that maybe he got in it and NIL deal. He certainly deserves it. In an outstanding year, did not win the job coming out of camp, but I think Sean Clark said 6 plays into it, plans changed, and he had a very good year. Led App State to a 9-5 record. They were the only team in the first 6 Sun Belt teams, in fact, maybe the first 8 Sun Belt teams to get a win in the bowl game. And we will look for App State and Joey Aguilar to be one of the preseason selections heading into 2024, along with Coastal Carolina. I'm not sure if it was, I guess it was up and down. It did finish, it did finish on an upswing. It got off to a very erratic start. They were 2-3 to begin the season. Then they finally went back to the Jamie Chadwell offense-ish, and then Grayson McCall got hurt. And then Jarrett Guest, the backup quarterback, got hurt. And then Ethan Vasco came in there and ends up winning the job. They did lose their last 2 regular season ball games. It could have been an incredible season. They did lose to Army 28-21 in upstate New York, and then it got throttled by James Madison 56-14. But they did go out to Hawaii and win the Aloha Bowl, beating San Jose State 24-14 as Tim Beck and Coastal Carolina get a nice win and finish up 8-5. Overall, 5-3 in the Sun Belt Conference. So I'll look for, because you got Ethan Vasco, who just continued to get better, and we know who the quarterback is, and I'm maybe making a big deal out of that. But Coastal Carolina and App State, I presume, are going to be your top picks. Right after that, I'm going to go with Old Dominion. I think Grant Wilson, I think, is pretty young in terms of he's only played college for he's been in college for 3 years. I'm not sure if one of those are red shirts. He did not play very much in his first 2 years, but he'll be back. So that's another one that is going to be leading the way in the East. I think that teams are going to maybe make the adjustment on ODU a little bit next season, now that they have an idea on what to expect. So we'll see how that goes for the Monarchs. But no reason why ODU can't be preseason, top 3. I would have them right behind Coastal Carolina and App State. Although, let me see here. Did they beat both of them? They may have beaten. They beat App State, and they lost to Coastal Carolina 28-24, and I think a game that they should have won. But we'll be looking for big things from Ricky Ronnie. Certainly, the Monarchs over-under is not going to be 1.5 next year. And now you have questions about quarterbacking in the rest of the division. All right, Georgia State snaps that long losing streak, gets a big win in the bowl game against Utah State, but Darren Granger is moving on, so they need a quarterback. Marshall looks like they're going to go with Cole Pennington. We'll see if he's the quarterback. People are going to have to be patient. All right, it's going to have to be patient. That is going to be a work in progress if we're going with Cole Pennington. And Georgia Southern is going to go. I don't know if they're going to go do they have a quarterback in the wings, or are they going to go in the portal again? Davis Brin is done with eligibility. And so we don't have any idea what Georgia State's going to be, what Marshall's going to be, or what Georgia Southern is going to be. So, or James Madison for that fact of the matter. So kind of like the West, you have, less than a handful of teams that are bringing their quarterbacks back and keeping their head coach. Everyone's dealing with the portal, some more than others. But I happen to think that I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Troy and James Madison are going to, fall by the wayside. I don't think that'll be the case. But you do have a couple of first-time head coaches. Now, John Summerall is a first-time head coach, and he won the conference twice. So, we'll see what Jared Parker does there, and we'll see what Bob Chesney, who is not a first-time head coach. He is he may be first-time FBS head coach, but he's been a head coach for over a decade. So he has plenty of experience doing that. All right, let's take a timeout. When we come back, hoops. All right, season is already about a month and a half old. We are getting into conference play. That opens up on Saturday. Let me tell you a little bit about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. We are the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. PrizePicks is the most fun I've had, winning up to 25 times my money this football season, and now I can play during basketball season too. You just select 2 or more players and pick more or less on their projected stats and place your entry. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. PrizePicks now offers Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match of up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match of up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. We've done a little hoops. Let's check out the standings. See if we can find the standings here. Because you have JMU again. They are, ranked in the top 20 nationally. They're 12-0. At the bottom, you have Georgia Southern 0-12. And we did an episode earlier this week. It is really important for Georgia Southern to beat Southern Miss Saturday, 4 p.m. in Statesboro. Southern Miss comes in 6-6. Georgia Southern is 0-12. Georgia Southern's next 4 ball games are all on the road. There's no lines yet, as you do have to wait until sometimes you get them the day before. But a lot of times it's either like the night before and certainly the day of. I would presume Southern Miss will be a small favorite. We'll see what that is. On the other end of things, you got JMU hosting Texas State. Texas State is 6-6, taking on the 20th ranked and undefeated James Madison Dukes, 12-0. Old Dominion is hosting South Alabama. South Alabama 7-5, actually doing better than I thought they were after losing to Mobile earlier in the year. Old Dominion off to a tough start. They are 4-8. App State, I think they got the second best record in the conference. They are 9-3. They're taking on Monroe, 4-6. Coastal Carolina and their new coaching staff, 3-8, hosting Troy, who's had up and down so far to their season. They are 6-6. Georgia State seems to be getting a little better. So is Arkansas State. This one is in Atlanta. Georgia State is 5-6. Arkansas State still glowing over that win over Louisville a couple of weeks ago. They are 4-8. And then you do have the Cajuns taking on Marshall in Huntington. Marshall 5-8. We'll see if the Cajuns, they did bounce back from their loss to McNeese with a win in their last outing. They take on the Thundering Herd on Saturday. Now, the week after, right, we have, there's a game. Is there a game on Wednesday? It seems to me. There is a game on Wednesday. Marshall and Monroe is hosting a Marshall. And then on Thursday, the rest of the conference plays. It'll be very interesting. It's January 4th. The Cajuns are hosting James Madison. I'm going to be very interested to see how many people come to that game. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I will make a deal out of it. Cajuns fans are always concerned with the lack of Power 5 schools that come to the Cajun Dome and the Cajun Field for that fact. Right? Seems like everybody else plays, not only plays Power 5 teams, which the Cajuns did, right? They played and lost to Minnesota, but a lot of them host Power 5 teams. All right, App State beat Auburn in basketball in lovely Boone, North Carolina. Cajuns can't seem to do that. Cajuns have issues getting that done. But this is a top. I don't care if it is Power 5 or not. It's a top 20 basketball team. As of right now, they're top 20. Let's see if you have a big crowd next Thursday night in the Cajun Dome. All right. And then sadly enough, a big crowd is going to be 5,000. That's a big crowd. All right. Now that makes a lot of noise. You don't need, it'd be nice if it was 9,000 or 10,000, but you get 5,000 in there, and that is a huge home court advantage. Maybe not what McNeese experienced with the Cajuns when, they have 40, their arena holds 4,500 and they had 3,500 in there. That makes a lot of noise too. It doesn't have to be full to be effective, but we'll see if Cajuns fans come out for their Raging Cajuns. I don't know if it matters if they beat Marshall or not. That would be nice to go into a game against JMU with a win, but I'm not sure that matters all that much. Probably more important that JMU wins, as the case may be. All right, we will actually be back in Lafayette later today. Hopefully, get home safe and sound. I just a little bit too tired. Did not get any sleep the night before. Was in a little bit of traffic, a little bit of weather, and just decided to pull over in Tallahassee again. All right, so we will be back next week. Have a happy new year, everybody. All right, be safe. Thank you so much for the support in 2023. We only look to do more in 2024. I am your host, Dave Schultz, and you've been watching and listening to Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day.